let's get the lighting. So what's this channel going to be about? Still going to figure that out. Following this YouTube video right now, how to get your first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Originally looking this up for the podcast channel that I have, but I think this is something I can use for my personal channel. Ayman, spelled A-Y-M-A-N. So the first topics he brought up so far are: one, post every day. So that's why I'm recording this. I know the quality is going to be terrible. It's not going to be edited. I'm literally just going to post this thing after I'm done talking. But the next step is who and what questions. He describes, you have to figure out, who does your channel serve? So this is another thing. That's a really important thing that I think I've done a mindset shift on, like, how could I help people? And I think I've reached a point in my life where I can actually really focus on something like that. How do I help or entertain someone? So that's the thing I got to figure out for this channel. Who does it serve? Right now, off the top of my head, or after some thought, I think this channel is focused around learning. That's the theme: learning and teaching. It's something I enjoy doing. It's something I've done before. And I think I'm going to center the channel around teaching. What exactly, I don't know yet. There's several things. I like learning new things all the time. Right now, I'm currently learning JavaScript. I'm also doing a daily habit of Blender. I think it'd be really cool this is a wild dream, to make my own feature film that you actually see in a movie theater, like across the country kind of shit, using some good source material. Because people always talk about, I want to write a book, or I want to, I don't know. Usually it's just a book, right? But people don't read anymore, right? People don't read. Like, I have a ton of these books right here. I've read maybe half of them. And that's rare for people to do. So I figure, you know what? And I want to push the culture. I want to push the culture in a direction that helps everybody. And I think entertainment's the best way to do it. Like, you notice this happen a lot of things that we accept as true today are because they're pushed in our media and our culture. Pushed in our media and then affects our culture. That's, I think, a quote by somebody. Something is downstream from culture or something like that. Well, I want to be a part of that, pushing the culture in a positive direction. I feel like there's a lot right now that pushes people in directions that won't turn out well in the long term. And that's what I think the focus of this channel is going to be. Part of this channel is that I do have a podcast too that I've been doing for over 6 months, which I really enjoy. It's Table Moments. You can find it on Spotify. And that's an entertainment podcast. Literally, it's just me and my siblings talking about random crap. And it's just a good time. If you want some laughs and see some sibling interactions and how we joke and tease each other all the time, that's a podcast. But I want to make something focused around learning, and I think that's what this channel is going to be. Now, the next question I have to answer is, what problem am I solving for you, the viewer? I haven't quite figured that out yet. I'm going to try a few different things, and it's also going to require you guys giving some feedback. I want to make something that's useful for you. And so in figuring out something like that, would require you guys to interact with me. So whenever you're watching this, because this is going to be one of the first videos that go up on the channel, leave in the comments based on what I've done in the future. So I'm speaking to my future self right now, but also to someone in the future who will be watching this. What would you like to learn based on what you've seen on my channel and what I focus on, whatever that is? What would you like to see more of? What would you like to learn? I think there's several things I can teach and help people with. I've had some pretty significant life experiences, nothing tragic, okay? It's just like I've made some pretty radical shifts in my life, considering the person I was versus where I am now. In the span of 7 years, it's like night and day. I've become an entirely different person. So maybe that's what this channel could be about. I used to be someone who was very reserved, a loner type, especially in high school. I could not talk to people. I think today they call it social anxiety, but then it was just difficult for me to talk to people. I couldn't make eye contact with people. A phone call was, me on the phone, it was terrible. It's completely terrible. I didn't know how to talk to people at all. I didn't know how to socialize. I had no friends. But since then, like, it's been a complete 180 where I'm a sociable person. I have a freaking podcast that I publish that people listen to, and I'm the one speaking maybe 80% of the time. I've transitioned. I've done the corporate job working as an engineer, then transitioned to a more social role, and making that transition and challenging myself to develop parts of my personality that have just never been used before. And learning all that, and then got to a role where I'm teaching a lot of people. I've taught hundreds of people in the corporate setting in a certain field, and I ended up leaving that to pursue starting a company with friends I grew up with. And that's what I'm currently doing now. And at this point, I don't have income, but I have faith that with the work I've been doing and putting in the work and effort and doing work like this to understand the creator space so that I can build and create software for people like that, maybe even you, if you're watching this as a creator, you might find the software that me and my friends are putting together useful. And so I've done certain things. I've done crazy things like buying a car I didn't know how to drive, moving across the country with no plan aside from just having a job. There were some rough transitions making that decision. So there's a lot I could offer that I think people would find really valuable. And there are nuggets of useful information that I put in the podcast sometimes that I think I can elaborate more on this channel. And I think it would be really useful for a lot of people. If you find it's useful, please leave it in the comments, what you like, what you don't like. So the focus of this channel will be mostly educator, but I think it would be really cool if I could combine the two. What if I can teach by entertaining? And that's another thing I've always thought about public school, or specifically math classes. Math doesn't have to be boring, right? I grew up, I enjoyed math, not because it was easy for me. Like, people looking at me doing math and solving problems would think it's natural for me to solve or solve math problems or anything like that, but it's not. It literally took just staring at the book, reading a paragraph again and again until it made sense, doing practice problems, checking in the back of the book that it was the right answer, or if it's the wrong answer, figure out what I did wrong, and then just repeat that process. But I enjoy that process of learning. And, like, public school, specifically high school, was terrible not because it was a bad experience or I was bullied or anything like that. It's that I think they made subjects boring that could have been interesting. History doesn't have to be boring. Math doesn't have to be boring. English doesn't have to be boring. And I'm not saying that's what this channel is going to be about. It's not going to be about teaching you the stuff. Well, you know what? I'm open to it. It could be about that. But really, learning doesn't have to be boring. It can be entertaining. It's just you have to have the right teacher who can make it entertaining. And there have been times in my life where I've had teachers like that in public school. And I think YouTube could be the new medium where people learn in an entertaining way. So what if you learned about JavaScript through application in a fun and interesting way? That would be interesting to watch. Or like explain calculus in an interesting way, applying it to some real world example that's funny. That can be something that people enjoy watching and learn at the same time and inspire people to go do something cool. So I think that's what the theme of this channel is going to be. I'm going to work through this video. I think it's by Think Media. So shout out to them for making that video, at least to help me get started. So that's what I'm going to do. And this is the first thing, literally just posting. So this is the first video. It's rough, I know, but leave it in the comments what you'd like to see out of a channel like this. You'll see a bunch of other videos about me on this channel, and just based on what you see, leave some feedback about what you'd like to see or what you'd like to learn more about. want to help teach you. I want to help make you better and achieve the things that you want to achieve. I've gotten a chance to do some pretty significant things in my life, and have taught myself along the way, but I can also help teach. So that's what this channel, the theme of this channel, is going to be about. Deuces.